we go, looking again at Theorem 1. So your deliverables this week are broken up by theorem. So this is a proof that you're going to read through. Remember, 2-column proofs. We have our statements and we have our reasons. It might have looked like this when we could actually like print something and write on it. Two columns with statements and reasons. So our first statement is our given information, our reason is given, our last statement was the thing we were trying to prove, and all these steps in between just get us there. So you're going to have a proof for every single theorem, 1 through 3, that you're going to read through and analyze. Then you're going to answer some questions about it. Okay, so take a minute, pause the video, read through this proof. How is it connected from this statement? What's the reason? And how does that lead to the next statement? Think about it. And then come back and we'll look through some of these questions together. Okay. So for this down here, label on your paper, deliverable 2, theorem 1. Why is statement number 2 important in this proof? Why do we need to draw the dashed lines? So here in the diagram, it's already drawn, but the original diagram, without this proof already happening, wouldn't have had them. So this proof writer added them in. Why is it important to draw the dashed lines? Well, what shape do the dashed lines create for us? They create triangles, okay? It's important to create triangles that then we see down in the proof. These two triangles, we prove them similar. So we have to create the triangles before we can prove them similar. Okay. Okay, without those dashed lines, we don't have triangles. And here we go, down to number 2. In statement number 3, which arc do both angle A and angle D intercept? Okay, so in statement 3, I'm gonna have to clear this so I can scroll back up. In statement 3, which arc do both angle A and angle D intercept? Okay, so let's go back up. This is now drawing on something we did a while ago. We have angle A and angle D. What do they intercept? So angle A is right here. I'm gonna draw it out so that I can see. What arc does it intercept? This arc right here, we would call that arc BC, okay? And you put your little arc mark above it. Let's see what angle, that's angle A. Let's check on D. Angle D is right here. If I draw out my angle to see what arc it intercepts or like connects with, intersects, I get the same thing, CB. So in these inscribed angles, they're inscribed in the circle, they intercept the same arc, so we know they have to be equal. If they intercept the same arc, they have to be equal. And here you see they're saying they're congruent, and the reason they know that is given inscribed angles that intercept the same arc are congruent. Okay. All right, let's have a look at this last, there's 2 more questions here that we'll look at together for this theorem. In statement 4, number 4, we use the 2 pairs of congruent inscribed angles in statement 3 to satisfy the AA postulate and to show the 2 triangles are congruent. Name a third pair, a pair is 2 things you must name, of congruent angles in these triangles. So in statement 4, we have said these 2 triangles are congruent. And if we were to mark this diagram, what we would mark is, we know A and D are congruent because they intersected that same arc. And it says C, I'm doing a double mark now, and B are congruent, and that's because they intersect arc AD. They both intersect this arc AD, okay? So I have 2 pairs of congruent angles within these 2 triangles. That's enough to prove AA, okay? So that's what this statement is about. And these are the 2 angle pairs that are making this true. But this question is asking, what other pair of congruent angles do we have? So there's only one more pair of angles in these triangles. We just need to make sure we name it correctly. So this is for number 4, or sorry, we're on number 3. Our pair of angles, it's going to be these angles right here, right? I can't necessarily make 3 clear marks, but these are going to be congruent to each other, okay? Because they're vertical angles, x's. But what do we call them? We need to be careful in how we name them. So I'm going to name them going from the 1 hash mark, 3 hash mark, 2 hash mark, okay? So to do that, for the bigger triangle, 1 hash mark D, E, B, okay? And I'm going to say angle D, E, B. And then in the small triangle, to go 1 hash mark, that would be A, 3 is E, and 2 is C. So I make sure I go in the right order according to which angles I know are congruent. And I need to label them both angle, okay? Number 4, just really quickly, I'm pretty sure it just says, how do you know they are congruent? What type of angles are they? Well, we sort of already answered that. How did we know to mark these 2 angles that we just named congruent? Vertical angles, okay? So this is what you're going to be asked to do for the next 2 theorems. You need to look through the proof, mark up your diagram with all the things that happen in the proof, and use that to answer the questions. We went through this one together. I think you guys got the next 2 for yourself. Go get them.